Hey, what's happening? YouTubers are back with a brand new action figure review, and based on the poll results, it looks like y'all want to see Supergirl get reviewed first, and then after that, I'll do the review on Batman 66, Superman version. But before I move forward with the review, I do want to take a second to say thank you to everyone that showed up to the inaugural first ever DC Multiverse Society podcast. It meant a lot to me, and as well as the other guys on the podcast, and also shout outs to the Broken Bat and DC Multiverse dude, and Bones in the Necro Zoo. Unfortunately, we're having technical difficulties getting them on the live stream, but don't worry, we're going to have another edition of it, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't caught the replay, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can all check it out. But back to the review. Today we're going to take a look at the new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Supergirl, part of the Gold Label collection. Now this is going to be a Target exclusive here in the States, and it will be released later on this month. I was lucky enough to find one at figurineforall.com, so here is their website and their email and the links to their social media pages like Instagram and Facebook. Now in terms of the box art, it's your typical standard McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse box and the Gold Label collection thing right there that makes this worth $5,000 in like 5 years. And then on the side you see it's Supergirl based on her appearance in DC Rebirth. And on the back is the image artwork of Supergirl, and that's about it for the box. Let's go and get Supergirl out of the box. Alright, here's Supergirl out of the box. Let's take a look at her accessories first, which she doesn't really have many, but here's the interesting thing. She comes with a flight stand and this base plate, which is interesting because I've never seen it before where there's both a base plate and a flight stand, so that's kind of cool to see. Having said that, though, I'm still going to toss this, so look out, Homer Simpson. And like I mentioned, she also comes with a flight stand, which is easy to assemble. You see that little port right there. You just line it up with the stand, and it just clicks into place. Like that. And just like all DC Multiverse figures from McFarlane Toys, she comes with a data file card. So on the front is the image artwork we saw in the back of the box, and on the back of the card is the data file. Feel free to pause it if you want to go ahead and read it. All right, now let's take a look at the figure itself, and we'll get started with the head sculpt first. And you know, at first glance, when you look at the head sculpt and compare it to the source material, it's not really on par. But I'll be honest with y'all, I'm kind of like at the point where I expect it, you know. It's not always going to be one for one how it looks on the source material from the card art. They're kind of have their own twists or their own interpretation of the sculpting work. So I'm not too mad about it. I think the head sculpt looks okay. It kind of has like a side eye thing going on where it's kind of looking off this way. It could just be the printing on the eyes for this figure, but the head sculpt doesn't look bad. The sculpting work of the hair looks really good, but the face just, it's something off about it. It still looks okay, but I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Now, when taking a look at the rest of the figure, I do like the paintwork of the Superman emblem, or in this case, the Supergirl emblem. It does have this gold and red finish. That same gold matches the belt as well. You look right here on the lower torso, there's like a detail going through it, and you can see the same thing on the right and left side of her upper torso, which is interesting. I thought they would just mold and sculpt a plain blue body, but with McFarlane Toys, they like to have their own spin on it or have their own specific details on there. It still looks good. It doesn't take away the overall aesthetic of it. But what's interesting thing is the legs are all red, whereas the source material, especially on the card, you can clearly see she's wearing boots. I'm wondering if at some point a non-gold label version of Supergirl will release that's more true to that source material than this one. But this still looks good overall. I do like the textured work they have on her skirt piece right here. And then on the cape, jeez. The cape, I did watch DC Multiverse Dude's review, and he does make a great point that, you know, the cape does seem a little long for Supergirl. Typically, you'd want it a little bit shorter, and I wish they found a way to put that Superman emblem print on the back of the cape, especially a cloth one, because that would have made this figure complete, in my opinion. Now, I also noticed that the legs are being reused from the Catwoman one from Nightfall, because you can see that pattern of her upper boot right here. And then you see the same thing with Supergirl. You can see like the upper boot piece right there as well. So the legs are reused. And just a little bit more detail about the cloth cape. It's the same cloth cape we've seen before from like the Batman or the Catman figures. And the way it is implemented inside of this body is it's underneath the neck peg. So it's just right there, and it goes throughout on the other side. I'm wondering if over time, if you pose it or move it around, it will pull eventually. Hopefully that's not the case. All right, now I'm just going to jump right into size comparisons. And first size comparison, here's Supergirl standing next to a couple other Kryptonians. We have the Action Comics 1000 Superman on the left and the Injustice 2 Supergirl on the right, a.k.a. the Kate Gosselin from Johnny K plus 8 Supergirl, because that's what this hairstyle and face reminds me of. And which do you prefer, the Rebirth version or the Injustice 2 version? And next size comparison, here's Supergirl standing next to Superboy and the Page Puncher Superman on the right that I've kit bashed with the Rebirth head. An next size comparison here, Supergirl standing next to more female figures in the DC Multiverse line. We have Donna Troy on the left and Batgirl on the right. And I guess in terms of scaling, I think Batgirl and Supergirl are the same height in the comics and the animated series. Let me know if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments below, but it's good to see these two are consistent in terms of scaling. An next size comparison, here's Supergirl standing next to the Marvel Legends retro-carded Gwen Stacy. And in your case, you're wondering why I'm doing a size comparison was, well, because this is the head swap I wanted to try, so let's see how it looks. So unfortunately that head swap doesn't work just because the neck is way too long, and even if I had the dumbbell joints in there, it would still sit too high on the neck right here. So damn, it didn't work. I just thought this Gwen Stacy would make a great Supergirl head sculpt, but it wasn't meant to be. Damn it. Damn, now I really want to I still have another one on pre-order with Target, but I really want to slice down the neck peg and see if it will work or fit on there okay, but this to me, this would have been perfect. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Now time for a random ass size comparison that only one other person in the world understands this reference to, but we're still keeping it within the McFarlane Toys banner. Here she is standing next to a couple of My Hero Academia figures from McFarlane Toys. We have Deku, Not Todoroki, and Ochako. My shit in heart. Alright, some of our thoughts on the figure. I like it. I think it's okay. But I do like how we are slowly fleshing out Superman family characters like Supergirl and Superboy. But by the way, Superboy is abnormally tall when compared to Superman. You've seen in my reviews before, I try to address scaling issues. At this point, I wonder if it's almost a moot point because usually McFarlane Toys does listen to the criticisms and the feedback and try to implement that and change it in the future. But I feel like we're this deep in the line, are they ever going to fix or address a scaling issue? Probably not, if I had to guess. But in terms of the Supergirl, I think she scales okay with Superman. I do like the figure. I don't like the inaccuracies to the source material, but at this point, when we're getting McFarlane Toys figures, it's kind of hard to compare them to source material because they like to throw their own twist to it. I actually do like how they went with a cloth cape instead of a sculpted cape. I do wish there was a way, though, to implement that Superman emblem on the back because that would have made this figure complete. And in terms of the boots, if I had to guess or my prediction, I think this is another Tim Drake situation where we'll see a more accurate version of Supergirl in a non-gold label edition later on, either next year or later this year. But let me know in the comments below, YouTubers, will be picking this up. Sound off below, and like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.